Words shape reality long before laws do, before borders, before governments, before money, before systems. There were words, and those words were never neutral. We are taught that words are labels, harmless descriptions of the world around us. But that is not how language actually works. Words do not describe reality, they define it. Every system you live inside is built on language, not on truth, not on morality, on definitions. And once a definition is accepted, everything that follows feels natural. Law, currency, religion, government, person, corporation. These are not objects, they are agreements. Agreements embedded in language so deeply that most people never realize they are participating in them. Take the word law. Most people believe law is about justice. But law is not justice. Law is structure. Law is authority. Law is permission encoded into words. A law does not ask whether something is right, it asks whether something is allowed. And the moment you accept the language of law, you accept the authority behind it. Now consider currency. Money feels physical, real, objective. But money is not value. Money is language. It is a story we agree to believe that a piece of paper, a number on a screen, or a digital token represents stored human effort. Change the language and the value changes. Inflation is not an economic mystery, it is a linguistic one. When the meaning of money shifts, everything priced in it shifts too. Then there is religion. Religion is often treated as belief, but belief is secondary. Religion is first a symbolic system. Words like sin, salvation, heaven, authority, obedience were not created to explain the universe. They were created to structure behavior. When language defines morality, control no longer requires force. People police themselves. Government works the same way. Government is not buildings or officials. Government is language that claims legitimacy. Words like sovereign, citizen, nation, public interest create an invisible hierarchy. Once accepted, that hierarchy feels natural, even inevitable. But perhaps the most powerful word of all is person. You believe you are a person, but legally a person is not a human being. A person is a construct, a role, a legal identity. Your lived reality, your breath, your thoughts, your consciousness exists outside that definition. Yet nearly every system interacts with you only through the word person. This is where legal language and lived reality diverge. You experience life as a human being. The system experiences you as a construct, and constructs can be managed. The same is true for corporations. A corporation is not a building. It is not people. It is a legal fiction, a word given rights, responsibilities, and protections. In many systems, a corporation is treated more consistently than a human being, not because it is more valuable, but because it is linguistically cleaner. This is the power of words. Once something is defined, it can be regulated, taxed, punished, protected. And once definitions are accepted without question, entire civilizations can be built on them. This is why most people feel trapped, but cannot explain why. They are not imprisoned by walls. They are enclosed by language. Legal language does not reflect lived reality. It replaces it. And the more complex the system becomes, the further those two realities drift apart. Understanding this is not about rejecting society. It is about seeing the foundation. Before systems collapse, language collapses first. Before revolutions happen, definitions break. And before sovereignty becomes possible, words must be examined. Because until you understand the language shaping your world, you are not choosing your reality. You are inheriting it. Before humans obeyed systems, they obeyed symbols. Before laws were written, before governments were formed, before religions were codified, there were images, marks, shapes, icons, emblems. This is not coincidence, it is biology. The human brain does not experience reality primarily through logic. It experiences reality through symbolic compression. Images reach us faster than words. Symbols bypass analysis. They go directly to emotion, memory, and instinct. Logic requires effort. Symbols require recognition, and recognition feels like truth. This is why every civilization, without exception, built itself around symbols. Flags, seals, crowns, totems, icons, sacred geometry, sigils. These were not decorations. They were interfaces, visual shortcuts that collapsed complexity into authority. A flag is not cloth, a seal is not ink, an emblem is not art. They are psychological anchors. Once an image is charged with meaning, the mind stops seeing the object and starts seeing what it represents. And once representation takes over, logic becomes secondary. Think about a flag. People will defend a flag more aggressively than the ideas it supposedly stands for. They will fight, die, kill, not for policies, not for constitutions, for an image. Why? Because the symbol has been ritualized. It has been repeated, honored, protected, displayed, saluted. The image absorbs identity, and when identity is threatened, logic disappears. This is not weakness. This is how the human nervous system works. Our ancestors survived by recognizing symbols quickly. A shape in the bushes, a mark on a cave wall, a color signaling danger or safety. Symbol recognition kept humans alive. Systems came later, but systems never replaced symbols. They hid behind them. This is why seals matter more than laws. Most people have never read the full laws governing their lives, but they recognize the seal at the top of the page. The eagle, the crest, the emblem. Authority is felt before it is understood, and once authority is felt, obedience follows. Religion mastered this early. Icons, statues, crosses, crescents, stars, mandalas. The symbol comes before the scripture. The image imprints before the explanation. A child recognizes the symbol long before they understand the belief. And by the time they ask questions, the symbol already feels sacred. Government works the same way. Logos, badges, uniforms, architecture. Courthouses are not designed to feel approachable. They are designed to feel immovable. Tall ceilings, stone columns, symmetry, seals carved into walls. The body feels small, and when the body feels small, the mind submits. This is intentional. Corporations learn this too. Logos are not branding. They are symbolic conditioning. A simple shape, a color palette, a repeated image. Over time, trust is transferred from experience to symbol. People defend brands they have never questioned. They feel loyalty to images. This is why humans obey images more than logic. Logic asks questions. Symbols answer them emotionally. Logic requires time. Symbols act instantly. Logic invites doubt. Symbols demand allegiance. Once a symbol is accepted, systems can operate invisibly behind it. People do not obey the law. They obey the symbol of law. People do not obey corporations. They obey the symbol of legitimacy. People do not obey belief. They obey the image of authority. This is also why revolutions always attack symbols first. Flags are burned, statues are torn down, icons are defaced, because dismantling a system begins by destabilizing its symbols. When symbols lose meaning, systems lose power. Now consider the modern world. Screens everywhere, logos everywhere, icons everywhere, apps, profiles, badges, verification check marks, digital symbols. The mind reacts to them the same way it always has. Status, authority, legitimacy. A symbol on a screen now determines trust more than character or truth. This is where Web3 quietly disrupts everything. Web3 removes inherited symbols. No uniforms, no seals, no central icon of authority, just code, just math, just verification. For the first time, trust is not symbolic, it is structural. And this is deeply uncomfortable for humans, because symbols feel safer than logic. Images feel safer than responsibility. Most people want authority to look like something. They want a face, a logo, a brand, a figure. Decentralization removes the image. And without an image, people must think. They must verify. They must understand. This is why symbols still dominate centralized platforms. They replace understanding with familiarity. Seeing symbols clearly does not mean rejecting them. It means recognizing their function. It means understanding that images are tools, not truth. And once you see that, you stop mistaking symbolism for legitimacy. You stop confusing imagery with authority. You begin asking different questions. Who designed this symbol? What behavior does it trigger? What identity does it reinforce? What system is hiding behind it? This is the moment systems begin to weaken, not when people rebel, but when symbols lose their spell. Because once an image stops commanding emotion, logic returns, and logic changes everything.